Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is of the day that you're joining us. This is the Tulsa World Scene video slash podcast, where the staff of the Tulsa World Entertainment and Lifestyle Department share with you useful information and useless trivia. I'm joined here today by the lovely and talented Grace Wood and the lovely and talented Jimmy Trammell. Probably the biggest thing coming up in the pop culture world in the next few days is going to be the latest iteration of the Batman. And I believe, Jimmy, you've got something on that, and why don't you start us off?
Yeah, it coincides with the opening for the Admiral Twin for the 2022 season. So the Batman will be one of the movies they're showing on Friday when they open for the season. I think Kong versus Godzilla and some other stuff is part of the thing as well. But I'll have not only a story about the Admiral Twin reopening, but, oh, by the way, here's a ranking of all the previous Batman movies, my opinion, which one was the best, top to bottom. I don't know if you guys have seen all or some of the Batman movies, but do you have a favorite Batman movie that you've seen?
Go for it, Grace.
I've actually only seen The Dark Knight, but I know people really like that one, so I guess maybe that's the best one.
Okay.
In my opinion. I think Christian Bale was a really good Batman. So,
which is a tough thing. Really, there's about 6 people on Earth that the fans are happy with being Batman, because they hated Michael Keaton before he was Batman, and then they loved him, and then they dogged Ben Affleck before he was Batman. But I thought he was fine as Batman. Mm-hmm. James, you got a favorite Batman movie or no?
Well, I was going to say I liked the movie The Dark Knight, and I liked that series, even if I wasn't a huge fan of Christian Bale. I mean, he's a great actor and he did a good job, but I have a soft spot in my 8-year-old heart for Adam West from the old TV series.
Sure.
Which is very kid-oriented and cartoony. And something that probably Grace has absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. And that's fine. But I was one of the few. I think I know that my reaction when I heard Michael Keaton as Batman, my reaction was that could work, because the thing about the reason I thought that is because Keaton would be able to get across the vulnerability. He didn't look like a tough, brooding person. He looked like an everyday sort of person, and who would need to, wrap himself in bulletproof stuff and go out and do things. So I really liked, to the point that I thought almost Jack Nicholson almost ruined it. He was just a little too
right.
He didn't have the right. If we had Michael Keaton going up against Heath Ledger's Joker, that would have been great. But that's just me.
Well, people might not realize it, but the Batman of the 60s you're talking about, the TV series, I'm sure 2 months after the first season ended, they had a major motion picture with Adam West, Burt Ward, a Batman movie with all of his cast of villains, and it was exactly in the same vein as the TV show. Shark repellent and all.
Shark repellent. Yep.
How do you throw away this bomb? You can't throw it over here in the water because there's ducks floating around. But I rank that one higher than people might suspect, that the campy Batman movie.
Well, and this is, a lot of people have done these kind of lists before, and one of the ones that always seems to land high is the animated version with, I think it's the actor was Kevin McCarthy did the voice And then a lot of people have thought that that was maybe one of the better Batmans of all time. But oh well, we'll see what comes of this one. Am I right in thinking this is a 3-hour movie?
Yeah, just like, I mean, Gilligan's Island was a 3-hour tour. You know, you could go on Gilligan's Island cruise, you could watch the Batman movie. I don't know where this started, but 3 hours to me is too long. Every movie anymore is 2.5 hours. Give me a 90-minute movie from 1975. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with theater. I mean, one of the things that we'll have coming Friday is a review of a play called Heroes of the Fourth Turning that Theater Tulsa is doing. And it's essentially 5 people sitting around talking. And it's 3 hours. And but fortunately, the what they're talking about and the ability of the local actors is such that it doesn't seem that long, but still that kind of seems to be, it's either 2 acts in 3 hours or it's 90 minutes straight through. And that's what you have in place. It's an interesting.
Grace, what do you want from a movie? You want it to be 2.5 hours? You want to be out of there in 2 hours? What's ideal?
I think with my attention span, a little bit, a little bit shorter, the better. I went and saw James Bond, like the new one, like a couple months ago with my dad, and obviously was like loving the story, and it felt like very dramatic. But towards the very end, I was like, I gotta get out of here. It's always weird when you go into the theater and it's light outside and then you leave and it's dark. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was such a time suck. So I think shorter for me, the better.
Yeah.
Well, and it used to be they would build in intermissions. I remember going to see Lawrence of Arabia, and that's like 4 hours, and it had an intermission. And same thing with Gone with the Wind. These were events, and while we have big blockbuster movies, do we have events like that? Are there movies that I don't know? It seems like
critical, because we're talking about this, and yet if I turn in a 70-inch story and the boss wants to cut it to 68 inches, I say, oh my God, I can't cut those 2 inches. So, I shouldn't complain, I guess.
Well, yeah, I've been in that situation. I remember one time I did a story. I was working for the Tribune, and they said that I needed to fit it into a 12-inch space, and I needed 15 inches to tell the story properly. So I write the story and I turn it in, and I'm sitting at the copy desk when it went through, and it got assigned to a copy editor. The copy editor said, and the copy chief said, it needs to be 3 inches shorter. And the lady spent a half an hour looking at it. She says, I can't cut this thing. And the copy chief says, give it to me. I can cut 3 inches out of anything. He spent a half an hour with it. Finally, he called down. He said, we need to drop another story to get this in. Because it was, I don't even remember what it was. I just remember being terribly proud that I'd written it in such a way that it could not be edited shorter. I haven't had that experience ever again, but I had it once. Oh, well. Well, since no doubt Batcave plays a big role in the Batman, getting one's own Batcave into shape for the new year is a concern of many, and I think you have something to share with that, Ms. Wood, about.
Yeah, I really love that transition. So yeah, this next weekend we've got the 73rd annual Greater Tulsa Home and Garden Show happening at the Expo Square. It's going to be Thursday, March 10th through Sunday, March 13th, and they're going to have items from, I think, over 375 different vendors. So it's going to be a really huge home improvement event. I talked to several different vendors about like what they're bringing to the show, as well as the CEO of the Home Builders Association, who's like putting on the event, just to kind of get like a little bit more background. So definitely go read that if you want to. But something I thought was cool is that they're making it like a very entertaining event, so that even people who aren't interested in homes and gardens per se can still like get the most out of it and have a good time. So the HBA actually hired the Pompeo family to perform, and I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're like a family circus act who have trained their dogs to do like these amazing stunts and acrobatics, and they were on America's Got Talent. So I think that's really interesting, and I think it's going to be, a really cool and fun event with a lot of different things to see. So
I'm now looking forward to the segue from what you said family circus to what you're going to talk about later.
Well, that's a very good question. We could, we could
comic strip, family circus.
Well, we have family circus. We have the comic strip, and also it's all about animals. So we interview Stefan Pastas, who is the creator and cartoonist of Pearls Before Swine, which you can follow daily in the Tulsa World. He debuted right at the end of 2001. He is coming to town on March 9th for a book signing event that is part of what he calls I Gotta Get Out of the House tour. He's recently released his 18th Pearls Before Swine Treasury. No, it's not. Anyway, it's the latest treasury, which gathers together 18 months of daily and Sunday strips that he's then gone back in and annotated. He says it's like doing a director's cut of a video. He'll talk about, what he thought was funny and that nobody else did, and things, angry emails that he's gotten about it. It's a fairly wide-ranging thing. And one thing we'll point out is how he seems to kind of know what's going to happen and gets cartoons about it before it happens. So there have been some amazing coincidences that have happened in his career. So we can look forward to that on Sunday. Jimmy, what have you got coming this Sunday?
Well, Bass Reeves is in the news, the historical figure, the legendary lawman from Indian Territory, pre-statehood, because Taylor Sheridan, creator of Yellowstone, is going to do a miniseries on Bass Reeves. So I will have a story for people for readers on Sunday about here's where you can go kind of regionally to learn more about Bass Reeves.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's see speaking of regionally, if you are in the need for food and drink, we have some recommendations this coming days. There's a new place on Cherry Street called Sidecar Barley and Wine Bar. It's primarily a drinks establishment, but they have interesting food if you, as me, are there for the food. And we also have a story coming up on Tim's Midtown Diner. That is it's a place at 32nd and Harvard that has been a family-run diner since 1976. And Tim Shadlow is the newest owner. He took over in late last year. And if you're into, good home cooking diner food, we'll give you the upshot on that. And coming up will be a review of 1907 Barbecue, which is the latest addition to the Mother Road Market food hall. A lot of people know it for its food truck that has been associated with local breweries. But they now have a space in the Mother Road Market. And we talked with one of the owners, Justin Carroll, who said that they are in the smallest restaurant space in the Mother Road. But he said, even though it's only about 300 square feet, he says it feels like, gigantic compared to the 68 square feet they had in the food truck. So, and the food that comes out of it is top notch. So look for that in future issues of the Tulsa World, available at fine news agents everywhere and online at tulsaworld.com. And if you need to relive this scintillating conversation, it's available on any place where you get your podcasts, such as the Apple apps, the Apple app for podcasts, Spotify, and all the rest. I think that'll do for this week. So on behalf of my colleagues, Jimmy Trammell and Grace Wood, we will gladly see you later.
Bye.
Bye.